Hi, brothers and sisters. Maayong adlaw. Well, naamo diri karon sa one of the beautiful places diri sa Mambalay, which is ang rooftop. Isa ni sa mga lugar na ako ang tinatambayan whenever I think, whenever I reflect, whenever I go through something in life. And gwapo mo guys siya kay makita na ako tanan, makita na ako sky, makita na ako mga tao yung paligid. And if you can see, grabe, natural lang kayo nakasando, naka-shorts. And because I want to be natural and I want to be more reflective on the thoughts that I've had for this reflection. So, yep. Truly, it's really a beautiful time of the year, brothers and sisters, to be alive. Amen. And I really trust that you are doing well and safe mo sa inyong family always. And speaking of trust, grabe kanindot ang affirmation na gihatag sa ako for this daily reflection. It's all about trust. But before I start, I just want to quote this beautiful verse sa Bible, which will involve our sharing for today. It's all about from Matthew chapter 10, verses 29 to 31. And it says, "Are not 2 sparrows sold for a small coin? Yet not one of them falls to the ground without your Father's knowledge. Even all the hairs of your head are counted. So do not be afraid. You are worth more than many sparrows." Nandindot kayo. Do not be afraid. You are worth more than many sparrows. And Matthew, as we all know, brothers and sisters, is a tax collector and was truly changed by the Lord through his trust to Jesus when he says, "Matthew, follow me." Diba? Remember you know. So, to guide through our reflection, we have 2 questions at hand. First is, do I believe in letting go and letting God? And second, when was the time in my life that I have surrendered to God and gave Him all my trust? What was the outcome? Well, in my own reflection, I have 2 perfect scenarios about this trust. But before we dive into that, let's start with the first question. To be honest, at first, it's really hard to set yourself and say, "Lord, ikaw lang jud bahala, Lord, ani tanan. I trust you." You'll never know until you've got, you never know until all you've got is to surrender and say, "Lord, I did my best. I completely trust everything at your feet." Brothers and sisters, I can still remember the time when I was looking for a perfect course na dapat na ako paon sa college. I'm confused. I really don't know what to get. Naanad ako sa idea na muskular ako jugo and you don't have to choose among all the choices. But at that time, brothers and sisters, I got into an idea of what was popular and for me at that time can earn more money. It was seaman, specifically marine transportation. And I was very excited, to be honest, brothers and sisters, at that time, and took the initial written exam and, luckily passed it. Next stage is what you call Ishihara test, or commonly known as colorblindness test. And anak ko sa sarili na, kaya rin, hindi mo colorblind good. So, I took the exam immediately and I needed to have a perfect score of 24 to pass the exam because I was applying for a scholarship at that time. But full I was, brothers and sisters. Wala ko kapasar. Abi dyan ako ka ng dali radyo kayo siya. 21 ra akong score tawon sa katong exam. So at that time, nihangi ako sa moderator and anak ko, "Ma'am, basig pwede rin isa pa ka chance. Kanang gusto kayo na kumoto ng course." Anak ko at that time. Nilana siya na, "Sige, pwede, pero try sa mga optical clinic sa gawas. And submit it by tomorrow para makaproceed to the next stage." Yeah, so at that night, brothers and sisters, I went home and studied every single question na possible na magawas at that exam. And here comes the morning, ready for another battle, ready for this another exam. And I was right. Most of the questions were the things I studied at that night. But there's a but, brothers and sisters. Surprisingly, there is one question that I got stuck into it. And I got only 10 seconds to answer each of the questions. So I just tried my best to answer it as best as I can. And when I got the result, I was not surprised. I got one mistake and I really know what it was. So well, I went back to moderator and say, Ma'am, basi pwede ra one mistake kay sarap ito ma'am, basi pwede ra mahangyo ba. And ana siya dong kung diri pa lang daan di ka kapasa. Samot na sa sunod na mga test, mas lisod pa ang imong maabtan. So, dito na nag-start. No? I went home, frustrated, sad, and somehow crying. I don't know what to feel, you know. So we decided to go into our last choice of school, you know, University of Southeastern Philippines or USEP. But, you know, I still have to decide what course should I take. Wala ko balo kung saan ko paol, so dapat akong all. So I contemplate and say, you know, I can do engineering courses because first foremost, I love math and I really love analyzing things. So, you know, I decided to pick ECE or Electronics Communication Engineering. But before we enrolled the course, we went our relative who was a former dean in Ateneo and whose son is a graduate of ECE at the same school. Yeah, we had a good talk, asking for advice that what would be the good course, and sabi ko na cool, kuha ko ECE. And immediately he says, gibuhat na ba dyan mo na sa una? Siya nga, ginabuhat na ba mo na sa una? Ganahan ba dyan kang electronics? Kay kung ako anak, no, graduate ECE, pero nahimura siyang programmer. So, that gives us an idea to take, you know, computer courses. And initially thought of computer science. But I said, you know, murag mas lisod man noon ang computer science kaysa sa IT. So, at that time, I took information technology course. And the rest was history. I graduated as the only regular student of our batch. And, you know, been to different competitions representing the school. And I was really honored to be part of their faculty once and inspire students to bring the best out of themselves. And that was the first scenario, brothers and sisters. The second scenario was when I decided to leave the country and tried my best to live on my own overseas. It's been a year since I started to decide to work abroad. And the decision to make myself better was easy, brothers and sisters. But during the process was sensationally hard. Like moving to different country is exciting, but entails a lot of sacrifices, hard work, and oftentimes you'll be left with nothing because experience costs a lot, like literally, like pera, kailangan yun. But at the end goal was to, you know, slowly to make my dreams come true, becoming a successful software engineer and build applications on my own and, you know, creating better lives to people. But it was really tough, brothers and sisters. I had a hard time adjusting to different people, culture, and environment. I remember once sleeping inside a toilet. Kay Moro Taon ang pinakainit na place sa sulod sa apartment in a country where below 0 degrees is just a normal thing. So, brothers and sisters, I also struggled with spiritual life there. The country only had around 6% of total population that are Catholic, you know, which means lesser schedules of mass, especially in English language. Every Sabado na jud tahon ko makasimba. And it's hard to imagine that coming from a very lively spirit of Singles for Christ before I go to Estonia. I woke up in a country that seems a little too dry in a spiritual life. I was also having issues at work. I was getting performance issues, mainly because sa mga adjustments to take, and also the technology that I was expecting to work is not really the reason why I was hired. Kumbaga, as they say, it was the wrong hire. Sakit, diba? I can't fully show my potential because the projects were really not into my expertise of what I was doing for the last couple of years. And then comes the decision of management. You know, they told me, they laid me off for work. I was down, I was hurt, I was confused, and I was lost. You know, I never thought I would go down to this after all the sacrifices I made. You know, I chose the path that I wanted to go, but it goes in a different direction. So, you know, I packed my things, brothers and sisters, and went back home and try to assess what would be the next big move. And I really prayed to the Lord, God, Lord, I did my best. Now I trust everything to you. Let your will be done into my life. And months later, the pandemic comes in. Every country closes their borders, not accepting anyone entering to their territories, fearing that they may have the sickness, called COVID. And as I slowly ponder in all of these things that happened to my life, I realized I was saved. It was truly God's plan to return back home, be with my family, and to be with the people who truly cared and made you happy all throughout the journey. To sum it all up, brothers and sisters, it may be a wrong mindset at that time, but truly it was never and never a wrong decision to make myself better. I learned a lot. I understand how to live in your own terms and to survive in a total unknown place. With these two scenarios at hand, like with the school, tapos yung going out of the country, there is one thing that is really in common, and it was truly trust. But faith without works is dead, brothers and sisters. And I truly believe that the Lord is simply calling us to do what we thought is good for us at our own will. And slowly, the Lord will redirect the path in His own way. I may have lost something during those times of struggles, confusions, and doubts, but I never lost my trust to the Lord, because time and time again, He really proves that He is really here and He is in complete control, brothers and sisters. Always remember that you may be in your deepest struggles now. It may seems like, no hope and courage to pursue things in life. But the Lord is simply asking us today, keep a hold on Him. Trust His timing. Be patient in the blessings you ought to expect. Because one day you will realize, brothers and sisters, it was truly the Lord's manifestation during that time. And it's different when you come to see that, when you come to see that it was truly the Lord making His desire wings. God's love for us is so perfect, and beyond our imperfections. And always remember that faith can move mountains. Learn the art of total surrender to the Lord. And if the intentions are pure, do what you think is best for you, and trust that the Lord is within your journey every step of the way. I pray personally that we may have the courage to trust the Lord every day of our lives and continue to be a blessing in each one of us. Always remember that you are loved. God bless everyone, and I hope you find meaning on my reflection. Dalay ko na Diyos.
Touch you, taste you, feel you, need you, give it all just to find you, hold me, heal me.